What's up, guys? We're back again. This is Nate Jackson here at Alex's Bar, part of our streaming series ongoing with all sorts of people who are important to the live music industry and to Long Beach. And right now we have Bill Black, who, those of you who may not know, he's like the sound guy, has done every tour you've ever seen, done sound for every band you've ever known. And he's got a lot to say about what's going on right now because he's feeling it, just like a lot of people behind the scenes are feeling it when it comes to the COVID shutdown. So, Bill, good to talk to you, man.
Good to meet. Yeah, good to talk to you. I'm glad to be here. Glad to support Alex with this bar, of course. Being in Long Beach, not only a staple but a necessity of Long Beach music scene. And yeah, man, it's been an interesting 6 months. So,
I mean, let's talk about it. I mean, I feel like you definitely have a lot of perspective that people don't realize, that as far as the behind the scenes, what's been going on with people in this industry. So what are some of the main things that you're feeling and hearing from people who are out of work right now, and how do you sort of deal with those?
I think I'm hearing the same thing as I'm feeling from most people in this business is just we've been left alone. Like we're literally just out here on our own floating, and the importance of our industry, and not just the music, but just the live events in general, including, countless conventions that businesses rely on for trade and whatnot, just any number of things is just it's disappeared, and there just doesn't seem to be any true understanding of that. And obviously we need to, as crew members and as owners of the venues and the theaters around this country, need to speak up and let people know that this isn't a hobby. It's not something that people just, that's what I hear a lot. I mean, I see it on social media. A lot of people commenting like, oh, you need to, get another job, or you had a good run, enjoyed your hobby. That was great. But it's like, these are 6-figure careers with people rigging, thousands of pounds of speakers and lighting rigs and trussing that takes years of schooling to train themselves to legally, to be able to legally do that. And I mean, any number of careers, carpentry, catering, hospitality, just all kinds of things that are involved with live music that the people don't see because they just see the final product. They get drunk at their favorite bar, they see the band that they love, that the person, not only the crew working that show, but the person that had to bring that behind the scenes to bring that artist to the venue. It's just, I just feel like we've been lost, man. And I think a lot of despair and a lot of just unanswered, there's no end in sight for us. There has been no timeline. We're the stage 4 employees or whatever that is, and there's no end game for that. And it's to me, it's unacceptable. And it's also unacceptable that the industry as a whole in music side, the musician and artist side, has been relatively silent. And I think that I'm seeing more of it now, and more people are stepping up. But we all need to step up, man, because it's going to disappear. And there's too many good people, not only in the business, but just the owners of these venues and just the family and the social aspect that it brings to your community it's irreplaceable, and it cannot disappear. We can't let that happen.
Right. And there's sort of the discussion, like, what will it take for people to kind of, as far as you talked about the artists, to break their silence, because behind every artist there's a whole huge team of people.
Yeah.
I mean, they arguably have the largest platform when it comes to culture, but what will it take? I mean, we're seeing, like we were talking about, how even arena tours as we know it will cease to exist.
Yeah, if we let the infrastructure go away, which people don't realize, like the speakers at the concert aren't there, they don't live there. All this stuff is brought in from a vendor per se outside that supplies all this equipment. The seating, possibly the curtaining, all the drape and pipe, all the stuff that you see at these events is brought in by, and that's also supplying jobs to people that might not be directly related just to the music industry, but like a pipe and drape guy might be pipe and drape and everything, but that's hundreds of jobs that are gone, and out of convention centers. And I don't know what's going to take. It's going to take action from people with like bands like U2, these bands that have made millions of dollars off of. It's a hard business. I'm not saying they have to come. They don't have to take the financial burden of everything, but they have to speak up so our government is aware that this is really a serious issue. It's not something that's just, oh, we lost a band, you're not going to see bands anymore. That's not the reality of it. The reality of it is you're going to lose an economic source in your community that is irreplaceable and massive. And fortunately, on top of the economic part of it, it also adds to our quality of life. Let's be
Right.
honest. I mean, who the hell wants to live without music or theater? I mean, that's what we're talking about. It's theater
Right.
as well. We're talking about Broadway. We're talking about Cirque du Soleil. I mean, they laid off other people. I mean, these are people, man, that have jobs, and they're just as important as, you know, any other job in this country. You know, there's no way to, and that's what it seems to me. It seems like they're putting importance level on our job. You had fun playing rock and roll for a while. You know.
Yeah, go get a real job
Yeah,
or whatever it is.
so.
And it starts here. I mean, that's why we're here right now, because we want to.
It does start here. Without these places, like without bars like Alex's and the stomping grounds of our communities where artists can perform of any sort, comedians, music, or any of that stuff. It's like we're not. It's not going to happen. You don't want to have any artists to go. So you won't have any Beyonces because Beyonce didn't start it. She didn't start at Qualcomm Stadium.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's hard to believe at this point, but
Yeah.
she didn't. She actually probably
Queen Bee.
was on a stage somewhere at a club somewhere at some point.
probably did a Warped Tour or something.
Yeah. Sure, we can go back in the archives and find that.
And this is another thing. It's also, I feel like my identity's been taken away because this job gives you such. Unfortunately, people say you shouldn't. Your job shouldn't identify you, but it does. This is the kind of job that it does. It's a lifestyle, whether you're on the owner side of a venue or a bar or a musician side or the tech side of it. You can't leave your house for months at a time and live with these people in a van or a bus for 4 months at a time and not have that become part of you. So
Right.
I've literally felt like I've lost my whole life, to be honest with you. Not just the financial part, but my mental well-being and my ability to my schedule's gone. I don't have any direction. And I think everybody's taking it differently, but I would say a majority of people in general are feeling that way, but definitely our industry, because we quit in March.
Yeah.
My last gig was March 8th, and it's September what?
September 18th.
So
No, it's a crazy thing to think about. And also, like you said, going back to your point about sort of mental health and being able to check on people, I think that the state of what we're dealing with right now makes it tough because everyone's kind of in their own world. But how important is it to you to try to check on your fellow crewmates and people and stay in touch because you're not in your normal environment?
I know how I feel, and I know also how our industry deals with depression in general. And I think it's very important because if I feel this way, and I'm usually a pretty happy person and some people would probably beg to differ, but I think it's very important, man, because I think, like I said, it takes a lot of sacrifice to either own a restaurant, a bar, a venue, to be an artist, to be a tech. It takes a lot of sacrifice, and that's what, like you said, you need the workings of this industry need to be exposed to the public to see that it's not just coke. Nobody's doing cocaine and hookers. That's not what this is. This is a lot of hardworking people. Like I always tell my friends when they say I'll get a job, I'm like, bro, like 16, 22 hours, that's not abnormal for us in a day. So I don't know what else you want me to do.
Yeah.
So if they want to come out and work, if they want to stay on a field till 5:45 in the morning pulling delays down, and they started work at 7 o'clock the day before, they can go right ahead and come out and tell me how much of a job it's not. So.
I mean, I can say from my own perspective as a journalist who's been to many, many shows that, we go in there, you guys are the first people there, you're the absolute last people to leave, and that's an entire,
and we choose it. We choose it. It's a choice. I'm not asking for, this isn't a pity thing. It's like, dude, we are a serious business. There's a serious amount of people that work in this business in every aspect. And there's way more to it than they know. And we just need, like you're doing here, like this needs to just be done around the country, and and unfortunately we need some big names to join us, man. We really do. I think that would really help. And like I said earlier, when the whole thing with, went down, with censorship in the 80s, and you had Frank Zappa and Dee Snider and Jello Biafra and these people coming to Congress and saying, hey man, we're not okay with that. And whether or not it went their way or not, they at least made an effort. And I just don't understand, with the amount of artists we have at the level we have, that they haven't stepped up and said something, because they're losing their livelihood as well. Because without us, there ain't anything.
Yeah, what are they going to depend on? Streaming?
Yeah. No, they're not. No. But don't get me started on that. I love streaming. Don't get me wrong. It's definitely, it's going to be done and it needs to be done, but it's not it's not a sustainable model for people to be going to work and a band to tour. It's not.
No.
It's not a financial way to go forward in any way.
No, definitely not.
It's a stopgap.
It's not. And, you know, one of the things that I always find is interesting about, you know, people that are in your line of work and do what you do all the time is where you go, because it's like, to the public, to the general society, going to a show is a way to relax or have fun. This is work for you. So like what, you know, there's always like that certain place or whatever, whether it's a bar, whether it's, you know, somebody's backyard that feels like home, a place where you want to relax. I'm sure that in some way Alex's is that.
Yeah, when I come here and do shows, that's kind of why glad I started doing more shows here and started working here, is because it's a nice break to come to a good family of people that care about what's going on. He books a good bunch of artists, great great musicians in here and artists and talent. And yeah, I have the ability to just not have all the pressure of a show. Yeah, shows they're not stress free.
Yeah.
It depends on who you're working for, I guess, but
Sure.
they can definitely be. But yeah, this is definitely a place. Like these bars are. You need to have Alex's bars all over the country, man. This is like I can't even imagine. I'm 44, and this is just I've been going to shows since I was like 13, 14, so I can't even imagine not having a venue like this where I grew up, or even now at my age. I mean, I have to go. You have to have these things. These things cannot go away. They're not. It's not even it's not an option to me. I don't. You know, whatever it takes, basically, to keep them open. And they need to stop funding these corporations that don't need it. They need to stop sending money to, you know, airline companies and people that are, you know, that are gonna. It's just like they don't need a bail. Where's our bailout, man? Where's the American people? Where's the, you know, we are the people that are gonna keep the airlines in business anyway. So if you don't give us money and these businesses money and the arts money, you're gonna have a really, really horrible society. You know,
Exactly.
it's gonna be a real bum out. I'll tell you that much. So
Summed it up well. Well, thanks, Bill. I appreciate your time, man.
thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Alex.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Alex.
Yeah.